Welcome to Dave's Garage. I'm going to start this out with this little preview video, and then we'll go into the main video. I came up with two full pages of outline to go over as a summary of all the accessories and mods I've done to my Versys X300. The list actually surprised me. It's long, so I thought, should I drag this out, maybe make it a two-part, go into too much detail? I thought, no, what we're going to do is we're just going to get it done. We're going to go through one video, and I'll just be talking like I'm, on speed and losing my breath, which is half the time. I was like, I didn't take time to inhale. So this video is going to sound like it was kind of hurried, rushed, but that was intentional. It's 30 minutes long, 20 accessories and mods, and with many subsets. Enjoy. Welcome back to Dave's Garage. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. This is going to be a summary video of many of the earlier videos I've published on many of the accessories and modifications I've done to my Versys X300. But I'm going to kind of move through this quickly, or we will be here all day, which I don't think we want to do. So let's just get started in chronological order. I'm going to go with my written down objectives here, or my outline, step by step. We're just going to kind of move through this. So we're going to start with the center stand. This is the very first thing I did to my X300. I've installed the center stand. It is an OEM. I bought that with the bike at the same time I bought the X300. And there's several things that are kind of a real benefit. First of all, you can, when you change your oil, it's pretty much holding your bike level. It may not be level front to back, so you may show a slightly different oil level once it's down on the ground. But I've just come to the agreement that I put in 2.7 quarts of oil in an oil change, and I just measure it that way. So the center stand is great. We'll probably get back on oil changing here in a little bit. The other thing is chain and sprocket maintenance. Also removal of the rear wheel for any kind of, like, fixing a flat or something. The center stand just comes in real handy. That's my number one thing I always recommend. Number two, OEM crash bars. Crash bars are OEM. Again, I bought them at the same time I bought the bike. They do, provide some protection. However, the design isn't that great. They only have one real, positive or solid mounting point on each side, right here in the cowl. Then across the front, they come together with a little bracket. This is pretty thin metal. This here is not a strong solid mount, and then that actually attaches to like a real small, like maybe ½ inch round tubing frame that lives underneath all here that everything's attached to. And a couple of the X300 owners have agreed that when you get any kind of serious layover, it's going to bend this cage, this cage of tubing, and now you're into some serious money and serious repairs. So I would recommend a like SW Motec or T-Rex. There's a couple others, GV crash bars rather than these OEMs. The other thing that went with it at the same time, I bought the OEM aux lights, put that on. The benefit is it's plug and play. The downside is you have to take off all these cowls, even the inner cowl, to get to the wiring, the dashboard switch, which lives right here. It comes with everything you need though, the center harness, the lights, the switch. You just snap click it in. In order to use the aux lights or any of the other accessories, you could, plugging into the connectors that exist right underneath this cowl, is you do need an extra, like OEM or a Kawasaki relay. I have this already taken apart for us. At only 200 miles on my X300, I went with a aftermarket alternate 15-tooth rubber bumpered sprocket, which you're looking at it. Now this thing has got 8,000 miles on it, which means the front sprocket has 7,800 miles on it, and it still looks like and functions like brand new. Got the OEM chain, the OEM rear sprocket. I really maintain the chain and sprockets. I learned that from my lifelong bicycling world. You keep these clean and lubed, and you will get maximum many years of use out of them. So we're going to see how that works out in the motorcycle world. The next thing here, here's my notes, is T-Rex skid plate. This is one of my, I guess, favorite topics, because I bought the T-Rex heavy-duty skid plate. It comes with four brackets. One that's like a vertically down here, one that's like a vertically down here, and then the mirror image on the other side. So the one shortcoming or weakness is the fore and aft, resistance or support. And 300 owners were complaining that this was getting pounded back into the exhaust pipes. So my first modification was a fifth bracket back to the M10 frame bolt for the center stand. I just simply added a little fifth L bracket. There's a video on that. Later I came back and took the fifth one out and redid it with two large full-length 2-inch angle irons that come all the way back, and they use both of the M10 frame center stand brackets. So that made it super beefy. And then on top of that, in order to modify or boost up the strength of these OEM crash bars, I've got them attached to the T-Rex HD skid plate. That's a little black L bracket here. This is right off Amazon. Plug and play. You only have to drill a couple little holes in the T-Rex bracket, and then this other third bracket, or extra bracket here, now comes with basically all the holes you need. And then I just have this aux light bar bracket here that just there's nothing to do other than just clamp it on and you're good to go. So it's almost effortless. Now these are super strong compared to what they were. What else? I also restored a Craftsman motorcycle jack, and it's over there in the corner, and I don't have it under here, but that allows me, with all this extra strength, with this strength, with the 4 original brackets, the 2 massive angle irons that go back to 2 more solid frame points, I can now put the Craftsman motorcycle jack underneath here and just lift it up. There's a video on that. On to another major topic is electronics. First thing I did is I went with all LED bulbs. The headlight, city lights, these blinkers, tail lights, or tail light under here, all LED. There is one thing, in order to make the LED blinkers work correctly, under your seat you have a little blinker relay or flasher that needs to be swapped out with a modern version that's electronic instead of just mechanical. So that takes care of the LED lights. USB charger. I've got that here in the dash. It's kind of poor lighting, but here in the dash, that was one of the first things I put in. And also phone wireless charger that I've got here. This is obviously my phone. To look at the back side of it, it's got a little mount back here that's wireless charging to the phone. It does also have a USB-C port in it, which I don't use for anything. And this here I'll get to later. That's my Garmin. And what else? Yeah, I guess the Garmin charger and the aux lights. Now I've only used, under here there's 2 translucent green barrel connectors. And then there's a 2-pin white connector that combined you need that extra relay for. The relay operates the lights, operates my Garmin, operates my phone, and operates my dual charger, which I have a short cord going to out front. This is my GoPro, and I'll get more into that later because I've got some extra stuff plugged in here. So all 4 are off these 2 devices. I just simply piggyback them off. There's a video on a lot of that, so I won't go into more of that. Another big upgrade, you really can't see it, but in here there's a sound bomb air horn air compressor, and then the actual air horn lives right here, so it's up out of the way. There's a nice video on that. I think that's all there is. In redoing some of this stuff, the original GoPro I had in here on a tall mount. The phone was still on this mount, but it was just all attached to a cheesy bracket that I've got here. One of these. You've seen a lot of you X300 owners put these on their bikes. These are junk. I would not recommend them. They break. Mine were already starting to go when I found it. You can see these marks right here. It's starting to crack on both sides, especially that one there with the finish already off it. They fatigue. You can see that they're bent. They fatigue. And what happens is anything you've got attached to this top bar is like a moment arm, so it's up here vibrating, and it just takes a real hit. Why they made this so skinny and thin through here, it's just a bad design. So I came up with my own. I have a massive aluminum billet that's kind of buried in here now that raises up my stock windshield 4 inches. This is like moved up. And then I've got a intermediate polycarbonate bracket underneath my Kawasaki name here, and that takes care of my custom windshield. I've got 2 videos on that, a short version and a long version. But back on the electronics, once I redid my super hard or super rigid billet aluminum bracket, I then reattached my new device here. Was my Garmin, and then I reattached this. I am still using like a go-between, like a little piece of handlebar that's kind of marketed for bicycles, but it's bolted right onto my billet bracket. So this now is all solid. This doesn't go anywhere. No vibration at all. On to page 2, covered the windshield design. There's a couple of videos on that. These swing out of the way of my bark busters. These are my wings. These are my bark busters, and these are just an aggregate of a much larger windshield that I kind of went through many iterations to come up with. This is a little extender on top, and these are my wings. These are all made from just sheet polycarbonate. It's easy to work with. It's like working with wood. It's really pretty simple. Yeah, the T-Rex bark busters. Couple comments on this. When you take the original ends out of your handlebars, you have to really work hard at rotating and getting those internal weights out. There's lots of videos on that. And then what T-Rex doesn't mention is you have to put the internal weights back in order for this screw to mount into it. I've got a video on this. Why I bring this up as a real plus is the T-Rex has its own version of metal, this frame, and it comes up over the handlebar on both sides. And this allows you to stay away from all your wires, your cables, your harnesses, your brake lines, your brake fluid reservoir, This is a real good design, I feel, for the X300. Next thing here is Dunlop Trail Max tires. These things are wearing like iron. They have let me what, 6,300 miles on them now, and they're just doing real well. I expect to get twice that, probably 12,000 miles out of them. I did measure them when they're brand new. They're at 14/32 of an inch, and these now with what did I say, 6,300 miles on them, these are still measuring at 10.3 millimeters, or 30 seconds, 10.3, 30 seconds of an inch. So these should last 12,000. You know, they're still nice and round. They're not flattened off yet or anything. They're just real beefy. They are heavy. They're hard to put on, but there's a video on that. Let's see, TPMS. This little guy right here is a tire pressure monitoring system, and this is pretty slick. It's easy to install. Put it on your handlebars, and then the little sensors just plug right in, or I shouldn't say plug in, but they're essentially a valve stem cap. That's all the entire unit is. You just screw it on with a little set nut on here, little lock nut, and you're done. It just works. That's a piece of cake. Helmet electronics. Okay, when it comes to helmet electronics, this can get kind of complicated, and I do have a really nice video that describes it. What you want to do, or what I wanted to do, is I wanted phone calls from the phone. I wanted Apple Music from the phone. I wanted GPS from the Garmin. I wanted my voice and anybody with me that we're communicating with from the Cardo to all be what they call wire-anded together. So the Garmin, Bluetooth to the Cardo, the phone is Bluetooth to the Cardo, the Cardo then adds its own microphone, and everything comes to this wireless transmitter. This is just a one-way wireless transmitter that comes to wirelessly comes to the GoPro. This is a receiver, the wireless receiver. And with GoPros, you need a mic adapter. This is a GoPro item. Then I've got a GoPro 10 here, and it works out great. This here is another really stout mount that I came up with. This is, instead of having it behind the windshield and bouncing around like it used to be, it was horrible. This is now rock solid, stable. It's actually mounted to my billet bracket. You know, I kind of use that billet bracket to keep building off of it to mount other stuff. So this is actually marketed for a Jeep hood. It's just a real stout mount. Like, I'm just shaking the whole bike. It's not going to move. Not going to move at all. So this is the receiver. So you add all those audio sources to your GoPro video, which is super stable, and it all just melts together and records on here. So I use this like a dash cam. This is going all the hours I'm on the bike. I just put a real large SD cards in it, 4K. Let it go. Let it rip. Helmet electronics, covered all that. See, that happened to be the most expensive project, especially if you need to buy all these things. That was pricey. The next thing I did was, now that I've got this complicated skid plate on, I didn't want to take it off to change the oil. So I have this little Fumoto drain pan valve instead of the drain bolt. And it's just a little flip lever, little drain valve. And you can now change the oil between changing the oil, and then this skid plate has a port down here for the filter. So that's another little project. That worked out great. What else? Aux lights, aux harness. One of the complicated or tedious tasks was that people were asking for third-party lights but they wanted to use the very inexpensive OEM aux harness. So I came up with all the mating connectors for the light ends, light connectors, the power, 2-pin power connector. If you wanted to come straight off the bike for that, or go through the harness, which I recommend, it's only a $5 harness, and then use the pigtail lights out here for a third-party light on the OEM bars or any kind of bar you want. And also the 4-pin connector, if you don't want to use the expensive OEM switch, which costs like 88 bucks. Shame on Kawasaki for charging that much. But if you don't want to use this, you can use any third-party switch you want in your dash, or not even in your dash. You can have it up here on your little toggle switch or paddle switch or anything on your handlebars or anywhere else. So you can gang into whatever lights you want. You just have to be careful. Like I should mention, I carefully added up the wattage needed for my GoPro, my phone, my Garmin, and my lights. Make sure I wasn't exceeding, or even close to exceeding, the 5 amp fuse that operates all this. Operates that relay you put in, and then all these devices. I'm well below 5 amps. Piece of cake. Luggage. I started out with just a little 29-liter Givi, and I more or less just use this for a helmet case now. But this is almost identical to Kawasaki's OEM, what they offer. And then I have these Kraken soft-sided bags up here. I don't have them on the bike. They're kind of a little bit of a time consumer. They come with these are really stout. They're like semi-rigid, and I found these really good deal, like $100. And they come with a lot of straps. So my video on them shows you how to put them on the bike so they're just really stout. This here is the one, it's much larger. This is a B47, a GV. And in here, I have like this is actually a soft-sided cooler. I have a little fuel container. I have a siphon tube. I also carry a air pump, and then a little power supply or jump box. Everything fits in here with no problem. The latest is this little guy. This is a MT505 tank lock bag. Just snap clicks on. That easy. One hand. This I should have put on the bike sooner. It's not big. I think it's only 5 liter. At least they're calling it 5 liter, but it's kind of small for a 5. You don't have a lot of room. Your handlebars come back. This is about as wide and as forward as you can go with a tank bag. Maybe the magnetic ones that lay back farther are not an issue, but this guy, he's kind of right up front. But small. I wish I would have put this on the bike sooner, because when I come out to the garage, I have my phone, my Garmin, my Cardo, my wireless receiver and transmitter, my earplugs, all the small stuff lives in this bag. Or when I come out to the bike, it's in this bag. I snap click this on, flip the lid open, grab my stuff, snap click, put it on my helmet, snap click, put my earplugs in, good to go. That really made my life simpler instead of having my pockets just loaded with all these trinkets. Now, if you don't have all these trinkets, well, you have more room to put something else in there. But I'd recommend this. It's a MT505. This should have been put on sooner, much sooner. 3 more things. Puig two-piece enduros foot pegs. These are wide. This is a firepower foldable aluminum. I recommend aluminum, so this will be sacrificed instead of your internal transmission steel shaft. You don't want to break that off. People break them off because they have a shifter that's too stout. This is aluminum. I assume this will go first, and then to prevent even that, this now folds in. This is firepower, and the model is it fits a KLX 250S from like the years 2009 up through the mid to late teens. But I think there's a lot of Kawasaki's that use this exact same mount for the shifter. The plus here is that this is longer by about an inch, and because it folds, and the knurling's not too bad, it doesn't rip boots up. I tried another one by another brand, I forget now, it's like KBB or something like that, and the knurling was so severe it would have been just annihilating my boot. So there's a shifter, the foot pegs. What else do I have? Oh, the large foot on the kickstand. I have, this is all Amazon. There's a million of them on there. This I think I only paid 20 bucks for. The only issue is, it comes with 3 screws. The screws seem to be kind of short. And 2 things happen. I did not use Loctite. Almost lost the foot. 1 screw was missing, 1 was loose, the other one was still tight. So I just went ahead and put longer screws in, so they come all the way to the bottom, all the way through this whole thickness, and use Loctite. Well, I can show you what I do use here. In here, I mentioned that I use a little air compressor. This is pretty neat. Yeah, Fantech. This was recommended by Dork in the Road YouTube channel. That guy's a trip. If you don't know about Dork in the Road, look him up on YouTube. And then this here was highly recommended. This is a 4,000 amp. The model number is GP4000. It's by Gulu. This thing kicks butt. It's kind of big. I don't have it out of the box right now, but it's kind of big for motorcycles. But one of the things that I'm trying to promote myself into doing is not only helping myself, but if I run across anybody else out there having a bad day, so if they have a dead battery, or if they have a flat tire or a low tire, if you run out of gas, I have my hose. I have my little 1.5 liter fuel container, and I'm thinking about actually adding another 1.5 liter fuel container, so there's 2 of them in there. They're empty, so I mean I can siphon out of my bike, to get somebody else out of trouble, or heaven forbid if I run out of gas. I mean, all I need is a volunteer, because I have the hose and I have the the 1.5 liter fuel containers. I can just put gas in my car or in my bike from any other vehicle that I can I can convince somebody to let me borrow some gas. So anyways, this is where I'm at with the bike. This bike is a 2021. I bought it in summer of 2021, like July. So I'm coming up on what, 3 years already. But obviously it's gone through a massive amount of transformation, and kind of a test bike, kind of a test case. I just thought, hey, let's just go a little crazy with some. Oh, almost forgot. This is my Corbin seat. This is, again, a very recent addition. This Corbin seat I bought it secondhand for like half price. And this is another thing that I tried a Mad Dog seat pad. I tried adding foam to it, all these different types of foam, stuffing it under there and whatever. Nothing was working. I mean, absolutely nothing. So this came along late last fall, like October, November, somewhere in there, at the end of riding season. So I've only got about, I don't know, a couple 100 miles on there. Well, maybe a little more than that now this spring. But if I would do it again, I would just say, the heck with it, because I could not get along with the stock seat. It just wasn't working. So if I could turn back the clock, I'd find, or put it on priority to find a Corbin. There's other brand names out there. There's Paul seats, I think. There's Sargent seats. Some of the other truly custom seats. But I'd put that higher up on the food chain to, I mean, just comfortable. I've kind of gotten away from having this be a streamlined, you know, X300. Now it's more of a adventure bike with a lot of creature comforts and a lot of accessories on it. But hey, and everything I've done does not impede on any part of the original bike. I can take all this stuff back off and go back to completely 100% stock with no problem. Even all the electronics, I've not touched one piece of cable or harness in this bike. I've done no modifications to it whatsoever. Everything is just strictly added on with the mating pigtail connectors or whatever. I mean, everything is just pristine when it comes to the wiring harness. I choose not to tear up my bike. So anyways, I feel like I'm on speed here talking 90 miles an hour. This is still going to be a really long video. I appreciate you guys sticking around with me, and we'll see you on the next one. And if you have any ideas as to what you'd like to see me do, I'm kind of running out of ideas on accessories for this thing. I mean, at some point you reach the end, or like I've already done several times, I've gone back and redone a few things, reinvented, redesigned. So anyways, have a good day, and we'll see you on the next one.